top 5 technologies that, when added, will change the top tier meta in War Thunder forever. Hello guys, once again it's Matt. Thank you all the members and patrons. Make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. And today I wanted to talk about 5 technologies that once added, they will completely change top tier. And yes, some of them are indeed on their way to be added. Some of them are a little bit further ahead. So let's start with, of course, stuff that are closer to what we already have in the game. The first one would be Fox 3 missiles, obviously, right? I mean, Fox 3 missiles are coming indeed very soon, probably in the next upcoming patch. And they will completely change, at least on 2 circumstances, the combat in top tier. On the first circumstance will be BVR, obviously, beyond visual range combat, meaning that you are going to have a lot more luck, and at the same time you have to be a lot more careful when actually shooting and defending from these radar missiles. Why? Because they are active radar missiles, missiles that will have their own radar emitting radiation, so they are a lot more reliable to get an actual hit. Obviously, even more when you lose the lock, you know. So it's a proper fire and forget weapon. It will completely change the tactics that you use in a normal BVR situation. But also, not only that, in up close, up to like 10 kilometers, once you fire a Fox 3, man, yeah, the target will have a lot of trouble. So it is going to be a lot more effective, and you're going to have to be on your toes a lot more, you know. So if you get shot at the wrong time, you're dead. That's probably the main thing about the Fox 3s, right? The second thing that is going to change as well, but not as much, and of course it is the next step up, it is basically missile warning systems for top tier jets, right? What I mean about that is the MAW system, the system that it is on the F-111, a system that detects any launch of a missile coming towards you and actually lets you know, even sometimes deploying flares and chaff automatically, right? These are only in certain jets right now, but the more we go into the future, a lot more of these will appear. You know, a lot of these systems will appear in the main jets and the main fighters when we get to the 4+ onwards generations of jets, right? Meaning that in a tactic situation, in a battle situation, it will completely change the situational awareness of your aircraft. If you flew these aircraft that have this, you notice that how you barely get jumped with these aircraft, because you always have kind of an angel looking after you. That's pretty much, you know. So you're probably never gonna get a surprise missile coming towards you. You're always going to know when a missile is coming towards you. And in an attacker or something, it doesn't change much, but once we start to see actual top tier jets that have this, then it's going to start to be a lot harder to kill a target with a missile, even though the missiles are getting better at the same time. So it's going to be an interesting balance. That the third thing is something that I don't think we are that far off, but it's not going to come anytime soon. I don't think, like in the next 2-3 patches, right? But it's still going to be something that will come in the soonish kind of future, like 1 year from now or something. And that is 1990s Fox 2 missiles. These would be the super maneuverable missiles based off of the missiles that we already have in the game, right? I'm talking about R-73Ms, I'm talking about AIM-9Xs, I'm talking about Python 4s. Missiles like that will be able to actually do a 180 if they need to. So those are missiles that indeed are a big step up from even the missiles that we already have in the game, which are already amazing, like the AIM-9M, the R-73 and stuff. So yeah, this is going to be scary, and even more scarier than that is that not only a missile like an R-73M will have an even better IRCCM compared to the normal R-73, we have stuff like the AIM-9X, which has proper imaging systems, the digital imaging systems that will even have better IRCCM. So it is going to be harder to evade a missile on maneuverability, and even harder to actually make them be fooled by a flare. So once these missiles comes up, they are going to change the game. They really are. If you think the A9Ms and R73s already did that, wait for the 90s Fox 3s or Fox 2s, sorry, and you will see how much better those missiles are. And I'm not even talking about the best missiles like the later models of A9Xs, the R74, or even the Python 5 or stuff like that. I'm talking about 9090s, right? So yeah, scary missiles. The fourth one is something that, although not really close to be added, they already started adding aircraft that utilize in real life a part of the technology. And it's basically electronic scanned array radars. These radars are a whole new brand of radar compared to the mechanical scanned radars that we have. They are another level. You know, I'm talking about PESA and AESA, the passive electronic scanned array and the active electronic scanned array. Basically, every single aircraft in the future will have these radars, and I'm not gonna get too much into it. I have a lot of videos on that, but basically, the I'm not going into how they work, is what I mean, but basically what you gain from them is instant detection. So basically, you will not have that scan time of going upwards and downwards and looking left and right, and basically taking a lot of time to scan a radar, like scan a zone, you know. It will basically be instantaneous. So that's already a plus, right? And of course, the powerfulness of these radars. They will be powerful. They can reach much better ranges. They can reach targets that are flying lower than before. And of course, there is always the fact that technically some of these radars can even lock. I'm not talking TWS. I'm talking about hard locking multiple targets, right? So the differences between the PESA and AESA are a little bit different. It's like comparing a normal LED TV to an OLED. It's basically that, if you know the difference between those two, but it's pretty much that. So the PESA will have normally a lot easier time targeting longer range, like longer range targets, right? But the AESA, it's a lot more precise and can change frequencies a lot quicker, so it's a lot harder to jam, etc. So yeah, it's a little bit of the same technology. The PESA, it's a little bit earlier in the technology. The AESA, it's a little bit more modern, but still, both are very, very good and not even close to the radars that we have in the game. So yeah, that will be pretty interesting, right? And the last one, guys, the technology that once added, I don't even know if they are going to add this, but I mean, I guess at some point we might see something like this in a long future time frame. But yeah, stealth, guys. Stealth is a type of technology that basically is trying to hide your aircraft, or not really hide, right? It's basically trying to make your aircraft smaller in a radar detection screen. That would be kinda what it is, making the radiation bouncing back, like bouncing from your aircraft, a lot less noticeable for the radar, and meaning that you have to get a lot closer to the target to actually detect a target that it's using a type of technology like that. Of course, there aren't that many aircraft with this technology. The F-22, of course, it's the main one, the F-35, the F-117, but there are other aircraft that use certain technologies that could actually help them get a lower signature, like the Su-57 a little bit. Even the MiG-144, they were trying to help with that. There are certain technology that they use in the Rafale that will help a little bit with that. So it's not like an on and off technology. It's more of a scale. You know, some of them, like the F-22, use almost everything that they had at the time to be a stealth aircraft, while others use a part of that technology, like the Rafale and the Su-57, right? So I wonder how they would actually add this type of thing. In the game, it would basically mean that you would need to get a lot closer to the target to actually detect it, meaning that if you are using a normal aircraft, an Su-27, for example, against an F-22, head-on, of course, it depends on this aspect of, there are many variables there, but on a head-on, in theory, the F-22, if they had the same power in the radar, just an example, it would basically mean that the Su-27 would have to get a lot closer to the F-22 than the F-22 to the Su-27 to both detect each other, you know. So, for example, if the F-22 can detect an Su-27 from 100 kilometers, the Su-27 will have to, I don't know, fly at 40 kilometers to be able to detect the F-22. Just an example, just to have that in mind. But yeah, that technology together with PESA, AESA, Fox 3 missiles, MAW systems, and the modern Fox 2s, you can see how powerful the 4+ generation and even 5th generation aircraft will be in the game if they are ever added or when they are added, right? But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments if I forgot a technology that will completely change air combat in top tier meta. And I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, and bye, guys.